we need to hear. And so I'm like, well, I know there's more things to be generous about than just your money, which is true. However, the topic tonight is specifically about money, which we'll get creative later. But and honestly, just like hearing that, you're probably like, yeah, I'm a poor college kid, or like, yeah, I'm like just starting out, which I would highly, 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 highly encourage you. I wish I could mandate it, but I can't because that isn't how it works. The phrase poor college kid does not make sense. Like, there's a lot of money that is going into school. It's like a huge privilege, and I don't want to like overlook that. And I know that like we are very thankful for that. But I'm gonna try to like we're gonna get our minds out of that. So if I've already offended you, I'm so sorry. You know, we can talk later when I'm supposed to go back there and welcome to another. But yeah, this is a tough topic. But I want to start out with just a little bit of I don't know, maybe to reframe this a little bit. So I don't know if some of you guys are new, so you might not have been following our Instagram over the summer, but we did a fundraising campaign called A Place to Belong. And that has so many meanings, like a place to belong, like here inside this building, a place to belong in the family of Jesus, and like in Christian community, like you have a place to belong. So the fundraiser was specifically about our building, which I don't know, Ben, was it like 25 years old, this building?
It's getting there.
It's getting there.
It's close.
He's getting there.
26.
Yeah. So our building is like just a little bit older than you guys, and I think that's kind of cool. But so the goal was to raise a whopping $25,000 for building projects and maintenance. You guys have been in my office and you see that awesome new window. Yeah. Yes. Oh my goodness. You guys, I've been asking for over 4 years. No, I'm kidding. Here it is. And I'm so thankful. But like these things are possible because like alum, friends, and family, and like some of your guys' parents have donated so that this place can be a place to belong for students, right? Staff, we're no strangers to support raising. Each of us, we support raise half of our salary. That's how we can pay our bills because we have houses that we live in and stuff. And you know, if you know anyone that works in ministry, that is very common. Like it's really strange for someone to not fundraise whenever they like work in a church. Even if they don't like fundraise personally, like how we do half of ours, the rest of it is also fundraise. Like we're asking people like, we know that you believe in this place, you know that this place matters, and we need your help. Please help us keep this place open. We can't do it without you. Another thing, so last summer our AC units went out and it cost $8,000 to repair, and we got the money within like half a week. Like it was very fast, and you know, like $8,000, oh my gosh, that's a lot. It is a lot, but people saw a need, and I mean, goodness gracious, like Midwest in the summer with no AC, like. And before students come back in August, I don't know if you guys remember how hot it was last year, but my heart, thank you, Jesus, for AC. But the thing is, like, each of these people who chose to give to us, they had to answer this question, whether they said it out loud or not, whether they actually thought this out. But the question was, am I content without this money? I said the word content, I'm so sorry. I don't know, this is rough. It's rough for me personally, so I get it. And like there are endless things that these supporters could have been using their money for. There are vacations, there are house projects, clothes, like literally anything at all. But instead they decide otherwise, and they are committed to seeing the church at work through this place. And there are a million other stories that are like that. We just don't know them. And talking about money should feel like really weird to people, but you know, it's not like it's very biblical. Like we see like a lot of instruction on how we should like view money and how we should like serve with our money and worship with our money and all these sorts of things. And what is super hard about this, and what what seems nearly impossible about this is that there are a lot of things that are competing not only for your attention, but your bank accounts as well. And I'll be honest, like it actually like infuriates me. Like I don't know if you guys have ever heard my tangent about like content, like sequels. Oh my goodness, how many sequels do we need? Or like there's another spin-off of this like already awesome thing. Like why do we? There's a video game now. Like when is it up and up? You know, like come on.
Toy Story 5.
You're stop it, Keandre. You're making my fun royal. Toy Story 5? They should have stopped it.
Three. They should have stopped
stopped
at
it.
3.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so you guys get it. Thank you. I mean, not thank you. That made me mad. Just kidding, Keandre. I love you. You know it. But I mean, there's just always more, right? And so again, like it's attention, it's content, but again, like our wallets too, right? Like, and it not only is it like grabbing our attention, it's so easy. It is so easy. I can get my phone out, I can download an app, I can click my lock button twice on my phone, it reads my face, and I purchase something. That's crazy, like, but it's so normal. And so we really are living in like this really weird, like, tension, I guess you could call it, or like dichotomy, or whatever you want to call it, of like, wow, okay, that was super easy. Should it be this easy? Like, I don't know. They don't even know if I'm like 18, you know, or older, like whatever. Like you can buy something within seconds. We self-medicate with things, gadgets, and just stuff, and our culture is writing the prescription. We have a warped definition of need, and we can make an excuse why not to be generous almost immediately. I promise you, my heart in this is not to guilt trip you, and it's not to tell you, well, this is why you should give. Like, if you're in this building, you probably get why you should give. We're going to get into it more, and I'm not going to badger you about the amount that you should give. And whenever I say the word should, what I'm meaning is what we are called to do, what we are commanded to do. And I can empathize with finances being tight, but tonight we're going to be looking how we can combat this culture of consumerism by practicing generosity. This culture of consumerism by practicing generosity. There will be challenges to this, yes, but there are also incredible blessings as well. We become a community of contentment and a culture of consumerism through the practice of generosity. And that's what this whole night is about. Again, we become a community, togetherness, of contentment, you know, fine without that, in a culture of consumerism, like need, what, and through the practice, an active thing of generosity. So I'm going to go ahead and pray, and then we'll begin. God, help us tonight to be open-minded and receptive to what you have to say through your word about generosity, how we can learn from your people about contentment, and how we can even bring you glory through being generous. Teach us how to be content and find our comfort in you. Amen. And so, there is no shortage of passages from Scripture that mention generosity. It's like one of the most popular topics, if not the most popular topics of Jesus' teaching, and we see it in the early church as well. So here's what we see in Acts. Acts 4, let's see, this is 32 through 37. Also, it is in YouVersion. It's been like really annoying lately, but YouVersion should be on. Oh, I wish there's none of those that should be on. Excellent. Thank you. So yeah, YouVersion, you go to like the 3 little lines, wherever that is now, they probably just let me out. But and then you go to events, and you should find Christian Food Fellowship. That's what it is. Okay, so Acts 4, 32 through 37. This says, now the full number of those who believed were of one heart and soul. And no one said that any of the things that belonged to him was his own, but they had everything in common. And with great power, the apostles were giving their testimony to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and great grace was upon them all. There many as were owners of lands or houses sold them and brought the proceeds of what was sold and laid it at the apostles' feet. It was distributed to each as any had need. Thus Joseph, who was called by the apostles Barnabas, which means son of encouragement, a Levite, a native of Cyprus, sold a field that had belonged to him and brought the money and laid it at the apostles' feet. So I think this is super cool, super convicting. I don't know, this might be like the first nonprofit organization. I don't know. It's really cool. Like their money isn't the goal. It isn't the stuff, except for recognizing the needs of each other and seeing like, okay, who needs this? Okay, we can have this. Like imagine the conversation that was happening about this. So I don't know, just if you can imagine with me for a second, just being around in this group, figuring out life and figuring out what is needed to survive, to keep this testimony of Jesus going. Like how do we keep this, like, man, they're really hungry over there. Like, they're seeing they're getting really worn out or whatever it is, I don't know. But just imagine that for a second. And then imagine like the creativity of, you know what, I have a house, I can sell my house, maybe that money could help. Or I have a field, which is more expensive than a house, maybe that money can help. Like here, like please, whatever it takes to get this testimony out. And that's the goal of this, of getting the testimony of what Jesus has done out. That is the goal. Not stuff, not things, not buying one in every color, not getting the latest edition, or not trading in one perfectly fine phone for another. Like, and I'm hoping, I really am hoping, as hard as it is, I hope that tonight can at least make you more aware of just how flooded we are. Of just consumerism, of just want and need. If nothing else, I just hope it makes you more aware. But again, like this is super cool, super convicting, and I don't know how this Joseph person came into the conversation. Maybe someone was like, "Hey, I know this guy, and he's heard of what you're doing, and he wants to help." Or maybe he was part of the group and they were talking to and then volunteered. Like I don't know how. It doesn't say, right? But I do know that they called him Barnabas, which means son of encouragement. I find that to just be really sweet and really authentic, and I really love that. And so I just want to think of like, okay, being like the son of encouragement, like how do we be encouraging with our finances? How can we be encouraging to ministries? I know, like anytime that Kathy, our office administrator, she does like QuickBooks and the finances and things like that. So I know that there's like a meeting between like Adam and Kathy on a weekly basis to go over finances. And I mean, unlike most of us, there's times where it's like, okay, oh man, money is so annoying. Like, this is so frustrating. But then we'll get an incredible gift of like $25,000. Like that's literally happened before. Like right in the nick of time, and it's really amazing. Like I don't know. I'm like, it's just cool. Like I don't know. I feel like the phrase like God showing up is like kind of just tossed around. Like I don't know if God really went anywhere. I don't think He did. But like rather than like, oh, check it out, God showed up. It's like, man, I am now aware very clearly of how God is moving. It isn't God showed up suddenly. It's like I'm aware now. I've learned more about God and His faithfulness and His provision. So again, we become a community of contentment and culture of consumerism through the practice of generosity. Again, in this early church, this is again the early church, and so we have a lot of like Jewish history, right? And so in the Old Testament, So manna, you guys are familiar with manna? Well, yeah, so every day, like manna would just appear. And the instruction was, which is bread, and this bread tasted like honey. I think that is really interesting. Like it could have tasted like garbage. It could have tasted like sour milk or something. It could have been moldy or anything. But it wasn't. Like God was even gracious enough to make it taste good. I think that's really cool that like God cares about like our pleasure and like all our senses. Anyway, that's a tangent. But the deal was with this manna is that you can only gather what you need. Only gather what you need. And so if I was like, okay, I've got these 3 Tupperware containers, and I'm gonna have one for breakfast, and I'm meal prepping. I've got just enough for the day ahead. I'm like, well, there's more out here. Why don't I just get more? Like, okay. No, I'll do another one for like the next day. Well, guess what? The surplus or the excess that they actually didn't need, it would go bad. It would go bad. And I don't know, I just think it's pretty interesting how manna, this bread, that was enough. I just think it's pretty cool that Jesus later on is called the bread of life. It's enough. I think that's cool. And so, again, with like this topic of consumerism, like it's a nightmare and it's actually like really scary. And I know, I'm about to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I know it, just let it happen. Just let it happen. But like the materialism that we are facing is like a direct threat to our lives being fully committed to Jesus. And again, like Jesus talked about money all the time because he knew how much of a stressor it was for those back in the day and how much worse it was going to get. I mean, like there's a phrase, there's some songs committed to like, money makes the world go round. Really? Money? Rather than like our incredible creator that like created the solar system and how the earth works, but no, we're gonna like cheapen this creation and say money makes the world go round, money's what makes things work. No, you're so totally missing it. But money is talked about, so it's obviously important. Again, I want you to actually like just sit for a little bit in this tension. And if this lands tonight, then you might be living in this tension for a really long time. We're told that we have to have this. We buy things we actually can't afford because it's trendy or whatever. And my goodness, are we suckers for a good deal? Oh man, me too. We want what our ads tell us that we want, and we aren't content with what we have. And we're giving all of our resources to all the wrong things, and we are susceptible to the things that are in for a very short period of time. And trends are getting shorter and shorter. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but it's called fast fashion. I could do like a whole other like 5 series on this, but we're not gonna do it. Look it up, you've probably heard of it. It is a real thing. So just thinking of like these things, so one of the things with fast fashion that I will talk about it's clothing that's really cheaply made and like actually like literally dangerous for you to wear. like the facilities that like a lot of the clothing is made in, like the facilities are super dangerous. Like especially the workers that are making these garments, like it's about quantity, not quality, right? So they get paid per unit, and if they don't, they have to face some pretty serious things. Like, I'm gonna kill one of your family members if you don't make this many shirts or whatever. Or like, hey, I'm going to assault you in XYZ fashion. We don't have to really get too creative with that. I think we're all aware if you don't produce this. And so the things that like the Israelites were facing with an identity shift of like, okay, I need to produce. I'm a slave to Egypt, I'm a slave to Pharaoh, I need to produce, I need to make bricks, I need to do this. This is what my identity is. Like people are still facing that today. And I don't want to just like brush by that. If it makes you uncomfortable, I'm cool with that. Let's have a conversation. And so on the other side of that, like better quality things, there's like an ongoing joke in my family about mom's black pants. I really wanted to get a picture of them, but she couldn't find them. kid you not, like my mom has been wearing the same black pants for like 25 years. I'm not even kidding. Like 25 years. And so whenever we see something that's like super old, we'll be like, oh, check it out, it's mom black pants. Because there's like, it's just an ongoing joke. Like mom has like they aren't magical or anything, but what they are is that they're decent quality. And really that's it. And she takes very good care of them. Washes them in cold water, hangs them to dry, all that stuff. Always puts them away nicely. She always like hangs them on the hanger and all that stuff. Whatever. She always irons them on all those things. Anyways, I've gotten this talk so many times. She's like, take care of my black pants if you're doing well. I'm like, Mom, oh my gosh, I got it. And so mom's black pants are a thing in our family. And meanwhile, I'm going nuts because they got free t-shirts on campus. And I'm like, someone grab one for me. Get it in another size just in case. Like, you guys are probably like, are gonna be like, I don't know if you can. Like, hey, what time is it? Like, you guys are kind of hey, can we do our meeting on campus? Like, free t-shirts, right? And like, thank you, Jesus, that like, he doesn't leave us to our own devices. And he shows us the solution, and he shows us his care. And he has gifted us with things like creativity and imagination and conviction. And so let's talk about now ways that we can be generous. And so it's going along. And I'm going to be sending a resource out to the connection group leaders, and then they will be sending it to, I didn't tell you guys this connection group leaders, but whatever. They'll be getting a resource, and this is my How to Be Generous, a working model of what generosity looks like in 2024. It's working because there's a lot I could add to it. But anyways, your connection group leaders are going to send that resource out to your own church center groups. That'll be later on. So here's some things that we can do. Sell something. Sell something and donate that money to a good cause. Where's the bucket? Right there, Jake Kelly, thank you. Da-da-da-da. That's an excellent cause. So we partner with Lifeline, and what the idea is, what the vision is, we have a long-standing relationship with Lifeline. Like we've had mission trips through there. People would go to Haiti on a service trip, and Haiti's still in unrest and then civil war is happening, and so. Can't go there anymore. But one of the ways that we can support and nurture this relationship is to donate to Lifeline, and that money goes to the families in need. And so that's a good cause. So even if you don't feel like getting creative, boom, there's an answer. So sell something and donate that money to a good cause. Second thing is go through your closet and see what you have duplicates of. Take pictures, put them in your group chat, message them to the people on your floor, and ask your neighbors, like, hey, do you need this, or does anyone want these? And don't charge them. I am so bad at this. I looked in my drawer, and I have like a nauseating amount of black t-shirts, and they don't even have a logo or anything. It's just black t-shirts, and I'm like. And as I'm getting dressed for tonight, I'm like, Hannah, Elizabeth, shame on you. I can't, what am I doing giving this talk? How am I doing the one doing this teaching? You have 24 black t-shirts. You got enough for a month. Man, it's that's crazy. So, again, I'm right there with you guys. I understand it. I really, really do. And so that's the thing. Find something that you have duplicates of. Don't charge them. Give it away to someone. And here's I feel like this is the hard part. It's easy to get excited about these things, but stop buying things that you don't need. Redefine need. It's usually a want. And I have a list of questions for you to ask yourself every single time you guys buy something. So right before you're about to buy it, ask these questions. It's definitely a new version. I'm not sure if everyone has one who learned. So I don't know, you guys have to be really good listeners, I guess. And that will also be available in connection groups. This is the resource that I'm going to be sending to them, and you guys will get it later this week. The questions that you're be careful about how you define need, right? Can this be borrowed? So things like one-time project tools, things you'll only need for a season. So like with baby stuff, Shiloh does not need a bouncer for her entire life. But she definitely needs it right now. If you've ever seen her just going to town with that bouncer, she needs a bouncer. That is a legit need. That's a legit need. But she's not gonna need it forever. She's gonna outgrow it, right? Blah blah blah. And so what I'm probably gonna do, I'm probably gonna give it to one of my friends, or I'm gonna like store it in my basement. I'm gonna be like, does anyone need this? Like, hey friend, like I heard you're gonna have a baby soon. Do you have a bouncer yet? That's probably what's gonna happen after this. I borrowed the locks, I borrowed their leaf blower, I borrowed their tiller, I borrowed their yard tools. And it's honestly getting to the point where I'm like, I feel like we need this and that, but like we could maybe buy it. But I'm like, why am I gonna buy it? Good luck, yes it is. You know what I mean? Like, why would I do that? You know, out of their kids have outgrown a swing set that they have in their backyard, and so like Erin messaged me and she was like, would you guys use this? I'm like, yes. Like, yes. Like, our backyard is so boring. Salem needs it. It's like, please, thank you. So yeah, can this be borrowed? And then the next question, can I get by without it? And this is like, man, you guys, I tell you what, convenience is key so often. And like, I talk about it a lot. I have a chicken shredder. You just cook a piece of meat, you put it in this little device, and you just turn it twice, boom, shredded meat. I am a sucker for convenience. It is, if it's not like, I will pay so much money for convenience, I really will. But the question, so this is really, this is really hard for me. Can I get by without it? And you could probably, you can, just shred your chicken with 5 forks or literally anything else except for like this crappy thing you got on Amazon. Actually, pretty awesome. But like, there's so many tools that like we do that with, right? It's like, oh, I need like this pencil pouch. It actually has like 2 more pockets. Or like, oh, this purse is a bow, you know. Anyway, both things. Next, do I need it right now? Do I need it right now? So textbooks, you need by a certain deadline. That's pretty non-negotiable. New pair of shoes, you might need them, but if you can get some more miles out of the ones you currently have, then do that, right? Next question is, do I have something similar? Do I have something similar? So 3 months ago, I bought a cropped white sweatshirt. And as soon as I bought it, as soon as I clicked like confirm or whatever, I literally looked over and I saw a white cropped sweatshirt on my couch that needed to be folded. Because I have so many clothes that it's like hard to keep up on laundry. And I'm like, dang it. So I texted my sister and I said, hey, here's the deal. I already have one of these and I bought one. I don't know why, don't ask questions, whatever. Do you want this? She was like, yeah. And so I'm like, that was so like, like this is what makes me so mad because like it hurts my feelings. And so the next question, other than do I have something similar, why do I want this? Is it because of a trend, or is it because everyone else has it, or is it because you have a need, or like have you been thinking about getting this for a while? So like garden tools, like I'm like, okay, we've been needing these for a while. We've been homeowners for a while. Like we need our own garden tools, except for tiller. We will be borrowing that till the cows come home. So next question, why do I want this? Next question is, how much do I have to work to get this? So this works if you have like an hourly rate of a job. So if you make $15 an hour, what is minimum wage in Indiana?
$7.25.
$17.25.
No, $7.
I was like, that's insane.
I wish it was 17. We're supposed to be minimum.
Alright, that rounds people up. Sorry. Alright, so with this question, what we are going to ask, if you make $7.25? Yeah.
7.25. You've clearly never worked for minimum wage.
6 hours of my time. Would I give 6 hours of my time to have this item? I don't know. Time is really valuable, as you all know. So that was extremely helpful for me. That was helpful, but I did work a minimum wage job. All right, next question is this a temporary trendy item that I will use in 1, 3, or 5 years? Mom's sweatpants. Was this product ethically made, which I touched on earlier? But again, like if there's a price that seems too good to be true, it probably is. You'll get higher quality and support more ethically sourced goods if you have a few staples rather than getting several low quality items that someone's like literally risked their lives for. It actually is really unhealthy for us too. Like there's been like traces of lead in like, whatever else. Like what is it? Timu, Sheen. Like there's actually been like traces of lead like in the products because like the facilities are just like so terrible. And so if you get that just from like wearing one of the pieces of clothing, imagine working in that environment. I don't know. That doesn't seem very cool to me. There are brands out there like I know and it's called Cotopaxi. I don't know if it's a Cotopaxi that brand. Yeah, Cotopaxi. So what they do, they have they use like it's called dead material, like material that is like passed on, and they just take a bunch of different colored materials, it's like really bright, really cool, and they just like reuse the material that would otherwise just like be trashed. So there are brands out there that are like higher quality and are just I don't know, just better. Let's see. Next question. So I have last two questions. Could this money be used elsewhere? So we do this a lot when we're saving up for a project, like our stinking garage door has been needing fixed since we got the house in February. And so, like anytime I'm like, ooh, Amazon, on Fridays, hello, that's awesome. So anytime I like have something in my cart, I've made it a habit now to keep it in my cart for a couple days, and I think about it, and I'm like, I might buy this. We have money, I could buy it. Instead, I'm gonna put that into like our envelope system, and we're gonna save it for garage door. And guess what? It's like the door is ordered, so it works. Last question is, can I get this used? This is, so I also understand this is like kind of the West style of decor. It's not for everyone, I'm cool with that. But the question is, can I get this used? Can I get this used? So I walked around our house, and in our entire house, like kids' rooms, our room, TV room, dining room, everywhere. As far as furniture goes, we have 2 pieces of furniture that we bought brand new. 2 pieces in an entire house were bought brand new. I think one was like, one was from IKEA. It was a TV stand, and the other, I don't even know what it was. But like 2 things that our entire house, and again, everything else has been either like thrifted, gifted, or held on to, depending on your style. That's cool, but it's not possible. So again, fighting against this culture of consumerism is going to help us become content and therefore become generous people. And I know this kind of sucks, and I know this is hard, but remember the early church? Like they wanted for nothing because they had because of the generosity of others. And it's up to us to be on either side of that situation. I know a lot of us have been needy before. Nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. I get it. Or we can be generous. And here's the thing also. Like there's this idea of like, okay, it's not a no, it's a not yet. So Zach, actually, I'm so glad you tuned in. Zach is an alum. Zach knows what it's like to be a college student, to be really hurting, like financially, or I'm assuming, I don't know, we haven't really
Spoiler alert, you're still broke as an adult.
generous, if you're on the other side of that and you're like, man, I could really use someone being generous right now, if you're on that side of it, that's okay. It might not be forever. But I also know that Zach is generous. I do know that. I know that. So you can be broken generous, right? Like, I go like Zach. But like, I don't know, it is possible. Like, I don't want us to get trapped in this like, no, I can't, bro. It's like, well, hang on a second. Let's take a step back and let's actually look at what's going on. And so, again, this isn't an easy topic because, one, I get it, obviously, 24 black t-shirts. But, like, I don't know, and we've all like, felt the effects of inflation or shrinkflation and all that stuff too. Like, that is very real. You guys might have multiple jobs, and even whenever you've done the work, the budget, and whenever everything is going smoothly, your car breaks down. Or you have more textbooks to buy. Or there's a hidden fee in this class, which is like so ridiculous. Hidden fee, be upfront, I want to take the class. Anyways, there's a hidden fee in the class or whatever the case. Like I really do get it. From a very young age, I have seen how God provides. Whenever I was in 5th grade, we had a house fire. Everything was gone except for a box of pictures and some books. And I remember actually like walking through our home and the walls were covered in just like, it was just black. Everything was just covered in soot. I remember actually like walking and like feeling like the water from like the fire hoses. Like I remember feeling it like squish and like the insides of my shoes got wet. Like I remember this very vividly. And so I know what it is like to have nothing. From a very young age. And I think whenever something like this happens, you can either go in one or two ways. You either live your life with a scarcity mindset of, I'm afraid to empty the ketchup bottle because I don't want to use the last of it, because then we're going to have to buy more. And I know that sounds silly. I know that sounds silly, but it's real. That's a real thing. That actually happens a lot. The scarcity mindset of like, well, what if it gets taken away? Like, or what if this happens again? Like, what if our house burns down again? Like, what if someone robs us? Like, what if I lose my job? X, Y, Z. Like, there's so many of these things. However, the most amazing thing happened. Like, the church showed up. We lived in a hotel for a little while. We stayed with family and friends. We stayed with the family. And once we got our new place, people weren't just like, yeah, well, good luck. You got your new home. See you later. No, they collected furniture. They organized a drive. I remember my teachers. I remember Mrs. Barrett. She pulled me into the hallway and she was like, hey, come with me. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Oh my God, we're getting called out of the hallway. This is like my nightmare. She had a bag of clothes for me. This like 30-something-year-old woman giving a 5th grader a bag of clothes, and I'm like, I hate all of these, but I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter because I have clothes on my back, and this is incredible. Like people showed up. The church showed up. God was always there. God has never not been faithful. God has never not been faithful. And I know, I feel the range of what we might be feeling in regards to this tonight. I feel that range. But this again, from very early on, I've known Matthew 6:26 of, don't you know that he cares for you? Do the birds worry about where their next meal's coming from? No, they just go and get it. They just go and play. They don't care. They're not worried. How much more valuable are we? Like brothers and sisters of Christ Jesus, like sons and daughters of like our perfect Father. How incredible is that? We are going to be just fine. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but we are going to be just fine. And I might even say we're gonna be really good. Because we know their identity isn't in what we have. Our identity isn't in what our bank account looks like. Our identity is in Jesus. And it is super awesome that we get to have a place in the church to encourage one another. So with that, the very last thing I'll say is, again, this yard not sale, this is the entire idea behind it. Again, whenever I was looking at the crop sweatshirt, or whenever I was looking in my drawer, I'm like, man, we've got a lot of stuff. We've got a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff that's like, oh, we might use that later. I don't know, we might. I haven't used it in 6 years, but I don't know, we might. That's getting donated. It is getting out. It is getting out. And so there's some bins out there that I would very much encourage you to really take some inventory. So look in your dorm, your room, your house, parents' house. Message them and ask and see like if there's anything that they would want to donate to the yard not sale. There's going to be like publicity on campus because there is a huge need. There's a huge need, and I don't know, like why wouldn't we help? You know, so let's be generous. It's going to be an opportunity for people to come and just take what they need, take what they want. There's going to be a grocery card giveaway, like a raffle. And so there's just a bunch of really cool things that are going to be happening with this. Everything that's left over is going to be going to an organization in town, the Bethany House. We've got that all lined up, and so they are happy to take whatever's left over. And so there's just so many layers to this event that I really need you guys to be a part of. So please just, and even if you're like, no, I'm not giving away anything, that's cool. All I'm asking is for you to just think about it. That's all I'm asking. So with that, that's what I have tonight. That was not fun. I did not love that. But it's so important. It's so important. And that's why we do what we do. With that, I got connection groups now. Y'all will be going through some questions. If you don't have a connection group, come up here and I'll give you the one.